Alright, we're at Olenia Air Base, and I'm just gonna fly a bit of the MiG-29. Barely know how to do the startup, so this is just me flying around, goofing around.
Установить колодки.
So I'm gonna place wheel shakes, get the ground electric power, and then I'm gonna do a startup quickly, probably do some mistakes. I'm gonna leave out most checks, and then, yeah, fly around the color map. We're at Olenia.
Подключить питание. Прием. Командир, наземное электропитание подключено.
Okay, checking voltage, it looks good. So I'm gonna turn on the gyros and avionics systems here. Starting the stopwatch, I'm gonna have to wait 30 to 40 seconds for the gyros to spin up. Let's put some lights in the cockpit. This looks good. I'm gonna hold two buttons here simultaneously for about 10 to 15 seconds. Alright. Turn on the fast prep for the navigation system. And we're gonna run the Ekhan self-test a bit. If anyone knows why the Russians decided to label the RPM gauge with RPM instead of in Cyrillic, I'd be interested to learn that, because I've seen photos of real MiG-29A or like Russian Air Force aircraft that have this gauge labeled exactly like this, which I find weird because everything else is in Cyrillic, and this thing was built in the 80s. I can't imagine that this was originally delivered with something labeled in the Latin alphabet with an English abbreviation. So yeah. In the meantime, we can run some tests here if we want.
Блок речевой информации исправен.
Fast prep light is on. And we can start the engine. Which is really simple. You just move both throttles out of the idle cutoff, and then you just press the engine start. Now the engine's gonna start. That's gonna start both engines, one after the other, starting with the number 2 engine. Turn down the repeater a
Смотри,
little.
экран.
Yeah, check ekran, I know. Number 1 engine is starting. Oh, we've got like 4,500 pounds of fuel, kilos of fuel in the tank. I don't have a flight plan programmed in, so. Okay, engines are started, and now we can turn off the electrical power.
Отключить питание. Прием.
So now
Командир, наземное
I need to
электропитание
keep my
отключено.
hands off the flight stick here. It's gonna run the AFCS bit test, and I cannot. You're gonna see this stick moving around, and until the damper light here is illuminated constantly, so it stops blinking, you cannot touch the stick. Any input might cause it to fail. Alright, AFCS bit is done, so now I'm gonna retrim the aircraft. So right now the stick is pushed to the front right, and I'm gonna trim it back until I've got 4 solid lights here on the panel. Right now only the rudder trim is lit. Aileron is trimmed, and I'm gonna got the stabilizer trimmed as well. I'm just gonna clear the icon, and we're basically ready to taxi. Could program in the runway heading here if I knew it. 352 magnetic, wow. Alright, let's taxi. We'll see whether the magnetic heading is really correct. I highly doubt it.
Убрать колодки. Прием. Командир, колодки убраны.
Turned on the taxi light. Oh, this thing has a crazy amount of power. I mean, it guzzles fuel like nothing else, but it's powerful. We're definitely gonna need P2 heat. Ambient temperature on this mission is like minus 13 degrees or something Celsius. Flaps, landing light, P2 is on, so now we can just take off, and it's gonna be a really quick takeoff run. So yeah, magnetic seems off here, so I'm gonna adjust that. Alright, running it up. Gear and flaps. This thing is a rocket ship. Right, already up at Mach 0.7, and I'm not even using burn-on anymore, just for the takeoff run. Alright, let's get this going. I'm gonna probably go to Severomorsk 1 or something, check out Murmansk. And we're just going through Mach 1 in a climb, just like that. Somewhere over there is Murmansk. That's where we're going. Yeah, just like that, we're at 9,000 meters and doing Mach 1.2. It's with missiles and a fuel tank. So, oh, this thing's great. One thing though, literally unplayable. The wristwatch doesn't work. Dropping out of burn-on. Gonna start looking for Murmansk. It should be Murmansk down there. Let's go low. We still have got some fuel left, so. I believe that's Severomorsk down there. Yeah. Might be Severomorsk 2. Not sure. Don't want to go too fast in the dive because controls in the MiG-29 go really stiff when you're fast high throttle settings and low. It's crazy. Reminds me a bit of the Kurfürst, the BF-109 at high speeds. Around Mach 0.85, 0.9, this thing is crazy maneuverable, but as soon as you so medium altitude like Mach 1 plus, it's really stiff. this is where I'm gonna land. I'm gonna have quite a bit of crosswind here, so first time landing with a real crosswind, that's gonna be interesting. But yeah, let's burn some fuel first. Need a lot of trim to keep the climb rate in check when you light the burners. This area got some weird artifacts with the latest update. Not sure this one, but the latest map update anyway. Because this wasn't here before like this. These artifacts in the water, in the shallow water. They're present on all maps in shallow water, but not this crazy.
Высота опасна. Высота опасна.
Yeah, I like the wingway perfects. Well, and here probably just do an overt break, I guess. Let's do, yeah. I think west-east is best. I haven't really checked the wind in this mission, but northeastern wind, so yeah, I'm gonna go 1-2 here. Little high for the break, but doesn't matter. Not sure why that is, but the refresh rate at the same settings of the refresh rate of the mirrors at the same settings seems to be lower than in other modules. Like not much, but appears to be lower. Not sure why. I mean, I could put it every frame, but that would just tank performance, and I like my mirrors. gonna refuel and check whether I wrecked my landing gear, because that was quite a hard bump. I think it was way over 3 meters per second descent rate, and that's already quite high.
Смотри экран.
Yeah, sure. I mean, landing gear looks fine. We'll see when I take off. No flat tires, so... And it's a fairly rugged landing gear anyway. But yeah, when I see people complain about the landing gear, and then you see like they have 5 meters per second descent rate, which is what, like 1,000 feet per minute? Yeah, no wonder it's wrecked. 1,000 feet per minute. Did I say second? Yeah, that would be insane. I have no idea where I'm going, but it looks like I'm going roughly the right direction, so... I think this is gonna be enough runway to take off.
Дозаправка по плану. Перезарядка по плану. Прием.
Yeah, module looks good. Have a nice day. I mean, it's a very solid release. Most of the important stuff seems to work, and even the DTC you can create a flight plan with. So yeah. Try and shoot down one of the AVACs flying around here. Maybe I can figure out how to work the radar. No idea what I'm doing. That's the radar.
Командир, борт заправлен. Командир, оружие подвешено. Перезарядка по плану. Прием. Командир, оружие подвешено.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Seems a solid release. Most of the stuff seems to work okay. There's some issues like the autopilot is oscillating. I haven't touched the weapons yet. I'm gonna try and shoot down an AVAX now, but yeah, we'll see. The helmet side, mounted side is really cool. I'm going to show that off in a moment. We'll have to figure out how to...
Смотри экран.
Yeah, the high gain doesn't work with the flaps down, so you really have to be doing flaps when you're lined up on the runway. Yeah, not big on the FC3 stuff, but I mean, the models look good, they work fine, so yeah. I like the clicky cockpits, but yeah, I can understand that position. Actually, more excited about the C-130 than this thing, but I mean, it's a very solid release overall. There should be an AVAX around the north, or just east of, what's it called? East of the North Cape somewhere, so that's what I'm gonna look for. Also well, there's 2 tankers, they're closer, so I'm going to go there and try and shoot them down. I mean, yeah, well, as I said, I'm usually just not, I mean, I'm not gonna comment on that stuff really much, because I want to enjoy my flight sim, and yes, I'm pissed about the modules, but it's kind of the only sim that gives me what I want, and even close, so I mean, I know there's fucking BMS, I've played that way back, but let's try and figure out this radar. So I've turned it on, master arm is on. I think I selected the right pylon. If only I knew how to could understand Russian, I can kind of decipher the Cyrillic here, but I know I'm making life hard for myself by turning it to Cyrillic, but I like it authentic. Radar was in standby, now it's on. Here's the helmet mounted sights, and now I think when I flip the switch here, now I've got the helmet mounted sight, and basically see when the reticle disappears, that's the limit of the missile seek I had. It's pretty cool. I haven't figured out how to work the missiles, so let's see if I can try to do that. That's an automat, so that's auto. Auto seems fine for the time being. No idea what that does. Let's go head on and pursuit. That's self-explanatory and auto. Okay. The animation to put up the helmet sight is kinda delayed. Like, the helmet sight goes up before the hand reaches the head. We should be crossing into Norway in a moment, I think. And there should be some tankers over here. Let's see if I can find them. There's one, 12 o'clock. Not sure if that is visible on stream, but it's a small, it was a small dot when I sent in. Putting that to pursuit should be fine. Just looking at all the switches you need to flip to operate the radar is like, it's really clumsy compared to a more modern HOTAS. Even like having a guy in the back operating the radar is much simpler than this. Weird that it doesn't run another contra. I think the tanker should be in contras. And I only see one. There should be two. One low, one high. One is an MPRS tanker, the other a normal tanker. That's the second one. Ah, maybe they just arrived on station. I think they're coming from south. From the south, and one is even coming from like a border or something. Flip this back to head on. Nothing on radar yet. There it is. Oh, or it was. Don't see it anymore. That one's controlling, that's the low one, but the high one was in front of me and I lost it. Let's just go for this one.
Разрешен. Разрешен.
Definitely doing something wrong. Weren't saved properly. That's fun. Alright, let's try this again. I'll put that on pursuit. Not sure why it didn't save my controls I did set up yesterday. Maybe I didn't shut it down properly or something. Nah, that's in the notch. That's why I lost lock. So, should we try head-on pass? I guess.
Пуск разрешен.
Nice. Should be a successful kill. Yep. Let's find the next guy. Start looking for the second tanker. And this thing is so short legs, I don't really know if I can... I can't afford to stay for long, so I'm gonna have to find this guy really quick. Let's try and do this with the helmet mounted side. Don't have tone now. I'm not sure. But probably when I get closer, I get tone. I hope. And then I already have to go home because fuels, even though I'm not using much burner and not flying really high settings, it's guzzling fuel like crazy. If I understand this correctly, you have to keep the target in the center of the small ring and then it will try and lock the enemy. It's got a solid tone, but it's kind of flashing, not sure. It should be also really far away, I think. Fox. Yeah, bang. Nice. Ooh, this is cool. I like this. This is cool. The helmet mounted side is so simplistic, but it works. Maybe I should try and get all the way home to, what's it called, Olenia? Yeah, I think I took off from Olenia initially, then went to Severomorsk and... Yes, and let's try the RTB button here. It doesn't light up. Maybe it actually needs a flight plan or something. I didn't create one, so that's on me. Yeah, this is a known issue, by the way, this wobbling here. The autopilot doesn't really work properly, especially if you have a lot of turbulence. Up here there's not much, but if I were to fly lower or get close to clouds, you would probably see the autopilot struggling quite a bit. And I'm gonna have to look where I need to go. So I've got about 2,000 kilos of fuel left, which is just, yeah, I think about half the fuel I took off with. I took off with like 4,500. Okay, no, I'm not gonna fly for like 300 kilometers. That's not gonna work. Well, going back to Severomorsk, I guess. $103. Autopilot on. Actually, is there a fuel flow gauge? Not sure. We've got 2,000 kilograms. That's gonna be enough to get to Severomorsk. It's my true airspeed. It's like 1,200. No, 1,020. Okay. Does this have a ground speed gauge? I don't know. Don't think so. Alright, that was cool. I do like the... Right, I know how to shoot missiles. I think that's all I need to know. I don't know how to land, start up, take off, yeah. Now I'm gonna look further into the systems, but... That's already good enough to fly some small missions and stuff. Sure, can you select? I have to check my keybinds here. I can't go by magnetic here, I guess. Yeah, I need to go true heading, so 131. I do like the look of this map from high altitude in winter, especially in winter. Still needs a lot of work, but I think it's a fantastic map. And it's like every 3 to 5 months there's usually a small update adding airfields. I mean, I know it's basically a few guys working on it, and there was a South Atlantic update, which is the same guys that did this map, so it's probably not much progress in the last month here, so let's see when they return to this. It's far from done. But yeah, I like the progress over the last year or so. It's been a steady improvements every couple of months. It was really nice to see. Lots of airfields added, lots of roads and stuff. Still quite far to go, a long way to go for like 1,000, what's that, 1,700 kilos of fuel? Yeah. No, it's gonna be fine. Actually gonna check whether I can create a flight plan while joining. I haven't checked that. I know I can create a flight plan when I use the dynamic slots, but they aren't enabled on this map. We'll see. Gonna have to check that out when I land. That's my base. I'm gonna land there. This is the naval bases, northern naval bases. Got some submarines there and floating dry docks and stuff with submarines on. It's like Polyanov or whatever it's called here. That's the radar altimeter in the HUD. Actually going really fast here, like 870 kilometers an hour. Yeah, that's fast. Yeah, I'm going around this time. Underestimated the crosswind here.
Высота опасна.
Russian style of artificial horizon is just weird, especially in the HUD. Just so confusing. Like in fairly level flights it's okay, but as soon as you go into like 60, 40, 45, 60 degrees angle of bank, it just looks wrong.
Выпусти шасси.
At 30 degrees AOB like this, it's still somewhat okay, but as soon as you go like this, it just looks weird. You look at the aircraft shape, and yes, there's a horizon at the bottom, but yeah, it just looks wrong. And I'm way too high, and that's gonna result in a fast approach. That was a fairly nice landing. Yeah, the brakes are terrible on the MiG, so you really want that drag chute here. Really weird. I bound the drag chute after I bound my trigger and weapon release, and that binding is still there, but the gun and trigger is not. And that was on the same game session. I don't understand this. Stop here and check whether I can open the DTC, but I think I need to respawn for that. So here I can create a flight plan. I think I need to do this. So adding Olenia to the flight plan, and now I can add like waypoints and stuff. I think I need to set points first, and then I can add the points as waypoints. Yeah. So go to point. Let's do this very simple. Put one on Momashi. Add. So now we have a point. When I get to waypoints, I can add this here. Now I have a waypoint. Put some more, maybe on the Bulyani and Elonia Guba up there at the naval ports, and then civil wars can down to back to Alenia, I guess. I can move that up. Now when I go on route, I can add all my points, I think. Alright, that looks good. And I think if I spawn now, I should have a DTC. Let's see. Well, I should have a flight plan.
Установить колодки. Принял. Командир, колодки установлены. Подключить питание. Принял. Командир, наземное электропитание подключено.
Alright. He's got a voltage. Turn that on. And just flip that up. Navigation system, gyros, aircraft system. Then I'm going to start my stopwatch. And now we wait for 40 seconds. Can do some tests in the meantime.
Блок речевой информации исправен.
Couple more seconds. Now we can continue. You need to hit two buttons at once. That's like this one here plus this one here. So I bound that to a stick. Now you need to hold these for 10 to 15 seconds. Should be good enough, and we can turn on the nav prep switch thingy here. And this should start the alignment. Now let's run the Ekran bitgas test thingy. It says odd gas right now, which is, I believe, something like inoperable failure or something. Alright, I think we can start the engines. Very simple. Both throttles out of idle cutoff, and then just hit the engine start button and they will both start up one after the other. First engine 2, then engine 1.
Запри фонарь. Смотри экран.
Canopy. You can check the pin here to make sure that everything is locked and sealed. That thing's done. Now I'm I'm running the AFCS bit. Oh, I touched my stick accidentally. Oh, it doesn't fail. But we'll see. Yeah, you can see the stick moving, doing its thing. I'm just gonna wait for the damper light here to stop flashing and illuminate, and then this is done, and then you're basically ready for takeoff. Really cool to see how ambient temperature has an effect on the engine. Like if you start it up on it's like, I don't know, above freezing somewhere, idle engine percent is gonna be at like 70-ish%, but here it's at like 67. I think Russians do this weird thing where they use QFE, right? Alright, that's done. I'll recenter the trim. and turn on the rest of the systems. And that's basically it. Clear the ecran again, but yeah. I think I can put in the runway thingy. I think it was like 352 or something. Anyway.
Отключить питание.
Ground power off, and then wheel chokes, and then we can go.
Принял. Командир, наземное электропитание отключено. Убрать колодки. Принял.
Смотри, экран.
Командир, колодки убраны.
Смотри, экран.
Yeah, put the flaps up so system. Flaps up for taxi, because otherwise you don't have high gain no-seal steering. Alright, so flaps up for taxi, so you have the high gain no-seal steering. I just turned on the pitot heat due to the temperature. It's like minus 13 or something Celsius, and once I'm lined up, I'm gonna put the flaps to takeoff position, and then I'm just gonna see. We do have a flight plan, as you can see here. It's the first waypoint is illuminated. So yeah, DTC looks nice here. Hopefully we'll get like this flight plan tool for other modules as well. That's gonna be so much better than just endlessly inputting coordinates in an aircraft. Okay, high gain again to make this corner. Boom. This airbase has some really nice elevation change on the runway. It's going to be interesting. I've never landed here, actually. I think once in a MiG-21. Lowering flaps clears the econ, and with that we can take off. think something went wrong with the flight plan. Because usually, last time I was just able to switch. Probably did something wrong. I need to put it on waypoint instead of aerodrome, that's it. I think we can just follow the river here to Murmansk. Well, let's try that. Little low level. If you fly the MiG, you're going to be constantly trimming. Every little speed difference is requiring additional trim. Follow this valley here, I think. Gonna check the QNH here. Kicking in the rudder is wild, to say the least. Let me level off here. We're quite fast, so I don't want to kick in too much rudder and I'm afraid to damage the aircraft, but I'm gonna do a little bit. So yeah, that was just a little rudder, not much. That's Murmansk. I think the international airport or national or whatever. I don't know if it's international. Probably. I think I have to manually switch the waypoint here. Let's see. 2.5 kilometers. Don't think it switches by itself. Yeah, just overflew it. think I put the next waypoint on Poliani, up north of the submarine base. Northern fleet bases and stuff. This is really crazy, right? How much the controls stiffen up at high speeds, like doing 1,100 plus kilometers an hour. There's barely any negative stick authority. I mean, I guess makes sense. You really don't want to do negative Gs, but it's still weird when you can be used to something like an F16, F4, and stuff like that. But yeah, the control system here kind of limits your pitch down moment when you get fast. Does not. I can pull up hard, like 6-7 Gs or something, and if I override it, I can basically do whatever I want, even break the aircraft. But yeah, I don't really feel the need to do that. It's so maneuverable. Doing kind of Mach 0.95 or something. So when I'm gonna get to Poliani, I'm gonna do a hard turn. And then I think I can just flip back the switch from waypoint to aerodrome, and I should be able to go back to base. I think that's Severomosk over there with additional ports and naval bases and stuff. If you want to counter this pitch up moment at high speeds, you're gonna have to trim a lot. It's not possible to really push the stick forward to do that. Like, it's possible, but it takes a lot. Got some subs here at Poliani. Just gonna do a hard pull here. Like 8G. I think I probably shouldn't do that with a tank. I don't know, there's a red line at 7? Yeah, 7. Look at the wake up. It got really slow here. And I guess back home. After looking into the arc, like the frequencies, I think it's a preset here. Yeah, you've got the presets. And we have about 110 kilometers home, so I think I'm gonna do is just plug in the burner and climb. I really need to trim those down here to limit the pitch up moment. It's just gonna keep pitching up if I don't do that. We almost went supersonic here. 40-degree climb. Maybe we did for a moment. I think that's Civil Mosque 2 or 3. No, I think 3 or 2. I don't know. One of them. Those like 40,000 feet. Mark 1.2. Nice. Something to check out, does the autopilot work when you go supersonic? Wow, this thing rips. Look at that. 1.7. Wow. Don't even know what VNE on this thing is. But we're high and fast. This should be able to. Oh. Fuel is draining like crazy. But yeah, we're like 40 kilometers. We can glide down with like a few hundred kilos of fuel. Wow, Mach 2. Just like that. But yeah, fuel's empty. I'm gonna go out of burner now at Mach 2.1-ish. Yeah, let's go Mach 2.1 and then out of burner. And look for the airbase. Basically, we're already on top of it. Nice. That worked out really well. Small sprint. DF here, 750 liters of kilos of fuel left. So nice. That's not a lot of fuel, by the way. And I'm gonna check how the landing is gonna progress here. Really high. Might just do a straight in, like a spiral down and then straight in to land. Do like the sound. I'm gonna do another flyby when I add some power for the landing. Let's bleed the rest of the speed off with a high G-turn. Not sure where you actually lower the gear, but 550 should be slow enough. My question is the red line where the engine turns off, or where you really have to land? On the fuel gauge here. There's that 550, 600 liters, there's a red line. And I'm at like 700. Way too fast here. Don't have an air brake because I have a fuel tank below, so. Looking for 10 degrees AOA or something. Was it units? I don't know. I think degrees. That was probably my best landing yet. That was really nice and smooth. Of course the sloping runway helped a lot with that, so. Drop the drag chute. Going flaps up for the taxi.
Смотри экран.
Yeah, I know, I put the flaps up. Alrighty, that was that for me today. Might fly a little later. There's a event on 4-yacht, just a regular mission with a little more organization. Probably gonna fly the Anton. I haven't flown it in months, so my best guess is I'm gonna get wrecked. We'll see how it goes. Anton or P-47, I think. Not sure yet. Probably Anton. There's probably gonna be more Axis players, more Allied players probably, so I'm gonna fly the Anton to equal that out a little bit. We'll see. But I would like to fly the P-47 as well. That's a lot of fun. Just park it up here. Don't care. Alright. Thanks for watching and see you around.